Hey, everybody. So while I'm waiting for TJ to get on here, and by the way, sorry, I forgot to put my makeup on. So hopefully I don't scare anybody away. Hopefully I don't look as bad as the Crypt Keeper does. So while I'm waiting for TJ to be backstage, I just wanted to let everybody know, hey, Blissful, hey, Super Batman Nerd, and Allie. Um, that I have opted and TJ agreed to shorten these up. The ones where we're talking about horror television shows. So we are going to limit the discussion of each episode to around 10 minutes, which means that we theoretically should be able to cover 6 episodes in 60 minutes. Okay. So, by my math calculations, which are not very good anyway, that way I figured to tighten up the show. Me and TJ wouldn't become as fatigued talking about these episodes. Um, and I do know and there's TJ. I'm going to add him in just a second. Um, and I do know that Dead Pit is doing a another one of their slasher movie villain tiers streams at 10. So this should give us plenty of time to get off here, so everybody can go migrate over to the Dead Pit stream. So I'm going to go ahead and add TJ real quick here. Hey TJ.
Hi. As you can see, I'm green with envy.
Yeah. That's right. I like it though.
Thank you.
Looks cool.
Everybody that saw me didn't say anything, and I was like, "Hello, my hair's green. Why
Yeah.
are you people not saying anything?"
Right. I like your decorations too back there.
Yeah, I'm Halloweening out.
I like it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with these episodes, and I am going to officially start the timer on my phone um, to try to keep us true to.
Here's my Tales from the Crypt T-shirt.
Ooh, I like it.
Fright rags.
Steve just ordered a Fright Rag shirt today. He got uh, the new Joe Bob Halloween shirt. So
I
he
saw
should.
that. I liked it. I was like, Do I want to spend the money I don't have for that shirt? Because once it's gone, it's
That's
gone.
right. Yeah, I'm in that boat now because I'm in the in between week between getting another paycheck and having to use what I got left from the other paycheck. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Can I
so
say one quick thing about
sure,
an
yeah,
episode from last week? Because I didn't get to say anything about it. So the
oh,
until
yeah,
death, the one, what is it? The till death episode with the wife, and I mean with the guy on the island and everything.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is the cover. That was the original.
Oh, cool.
So in the original story, it's slightly different. In it, they're a married couple,
Mm-hmm.
and it's done in like not there. It's done like it's narrated not by any of the characters, but it's like it's told in like present, tense type of storytelling, and um, yeah. So he's not a conniving jerk, and she's not like a hoity-toity, stuck-up rich woman and stuff like that. So it's like it's all different, um, which I
Well,
like
that's a
that. I like that
switch,
better.
isn't it?
It's kind of like, oh yeah, the bitchy woman and the gold digger. And it's like, yeah, I've seen that before.
Right.
And it's a love story too. The original one, it's more of a love
Huh,
story.
that's interesting.
It is the same way with everybody being dead, but
Right, but they kind of switched some things around.
yeah.
Um, okay, so we'll go ahead and I think I need to set this thing not to get dark for a few minutes if I can. Uh, because I usually have it set to time out after about a minute. So let's just do this here so it'll stay on there. Okay. So once I tell the title of it, I'm going to hit the start timer. Um, so the first episode we're going to talk about is episode 7, The Sacrifice. So take it away, TJ.
So this guy's his insurance salesman basically, and he's selling life insurance to this rich guy. Beautiful apartment, all that stuff. He's got a so he gets on the elevator and he's trying to hit on this woman. We find out she's the wife of the guy he's trying to sell the insurance to, that his company's trying to make money off of, and yeah. So there's some good sexual tension between the wife and the salesman dude. Um, she's not happy with her husband, you can tell, but like she pretends to be. Yeah. So they basically fall in love, and she's like, kill my husband for the insurance, and then we'll go off together, and blah blah blah. And it's that kind of thing. So it's not horror per se. I think these first 3 episodes are from the shock suspense story. So
Right.
before it became Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror and Haunt the Fifth, so those were more crime stories. So these first 3 I think are more crime. Than there's
Hmm.
nothing really supernatural going on. Anyway, we got Michael Ironsides, who is supposedly an associate of the woman's rich husband, who she despises.
Hmm.
Um, so there's some tension going on, and then like I said, they kill the guy. They push him off the side of a. They push him off the no, what do you call it, the balcony of
Hmm.
his penthouse or whatever, and pushes him off. And then Michael Ironsides comes into play, and he's going to blackmail them basically. So he wants
Right.
the money from the insurance. Um, so the sales guy becomes very like, he feels a lot. He feels guilt, and he feels like he's going to get caught. So he decides to himself. He takes a bunch of pills. The woman goes to find him. He had written a letter admitting that he killed the guy, and he said she was not responsible at all. Well, we find out that her and Michael Ironsides, this was their whole plan.
Yep.
Um, she throws away that she burns or throws away the confession note, and they go off together to live happily ever after.
I guess, but they're both like, I didn't. It had been a while since I had seen this, so I'd kind of forgotten the twist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there was something I didn't like about that woman from the first time I saw her. She just seemed wicked in some way. Did she seem that way to you, TJ? Or
I mean, I remembered the episode, so
oh, okay.
yeah, I wouldn't remember the first time I saw it. It was in 1990. I don't remember that far back. My brain doesn't work that far back.
But
Yeah, the episode, it was
it's
a good,
it's
good.
been a long while since I had seen that particular episode,
And I
so
was
I
like, oh
did.
my god, Ironside's in this. I forgot he was in it.
Yeah, yeah, that was. But Michael Ironside, you can almost guarantee he's going to be a sleazebag or a bad guy of some sort. There was only one movie that I saw him in where he wasn't really a bad guy, but he wasn't really a good guy either. I'm
Yeah.
forgetting the name of the movie now, unfortunately,
Well,
but
he was in the TV show V.
yeah.
He was like a
So
mercenary, but he was like on the good guy side. So he was,
I guess that was the one good guy role he
yeah.
had.
And then in Scanners, that's
Oh gosh, he's evil in Scanners.
yeah, he's a bastard.
But he was good in this because, he didn't try to act good at any point in time in this. It was pretty much cut and dried what kind of character he was. Um,
He's very unassuming. Like you wouldn't even think that there was a plot behind the scenes, except for even though he's trying to blackmail them, he's not like overly like his characters are usually very like like overly dramatic, and he's more subtle in this, I think.
Mhm. And I will say, if me and TJ run out of things to say about an episode, we can go on to the next one. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes. I just didn't want to go over the 10-minute mark. So we're about 5 minutes in on this one. So um, I guess we could talk about how well we liked this one or didn't like it. I liked it pretty well. I thought, like TJ, this was more of like a crime
Yeah.
type of thing than a horror thing, unless you count the guy's suicide as a horrific thing. But
Yeah, that's all in the drama and thriller of it all, basically.
mhm. So how well did you like it, TJ?
I really like. Well, I forgot the ending stinger is the fact that they're like, oh, we got away with it. No one will ever know. And then there's a parrot throughout the
Yeah,
episode,
yeah,
and the parrot repeats what was going on when they killed the guy. So he's basically knows, what happened verbally. So like, if anybody finds this parrot, they'll know what happened. So that's sort of the twist is that like,
right. That the bird knows what happened.
yeah,
It knows exactly what happened.
yeah, I
Uh,
liked it. I liked the episode. It's
yeah, I think it was a good thriller, crime type of thing. And I think that's good to throw those in there into the mix sometimes, because if they were all just straight ahead horror, I don't think this series would have worked as well.
yeah.
Because I know it's called Tales from the Crypt, but they do take things from the shock and suspense, the vault of horror. They don't take them all just from Tales from the Crypt. So you got a mixture in there. So, anything else you want to bring up about it, TJ, before we move on?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So, I'm going to stop and reset the timer.
How long was that?
Um, but I am going to read through because we got a few, we got about 10 people in here. So, um, Allie said that Richard Thomas in Mute Witness to Murder is my fave villain of the series. We're actually going to be talking about that one next week.
Yeah.
Um, and Super Batman Nerd says The Exorcist Believer should have been a sequel to Drag Me to Hell.
Well, that's a spoiler.
Blissful says she loves the color of your hair, TJ.
Thank you. I heard she blew the surprise on. She saw me on TikTok.
Yeah, but just to me, I don't know if she told anybody else. But TJ was like, keep it hush hush until I come on there and everybody
I
sees it.
wonder which video she saw.
I don't know. I don't get on TikTok that much, but
Because I just put up one that was about a possible plot hole in Death Becomes Her, which I was watching a clip someone had. And I was like, hey, that could be a plot hole.
mm-hmm.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I have, but it's been a while. I remember enjoying it though.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Mm.
Everybody was in their prime during that movie.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
And we got a new person that I don't remember seeing singing in here, Don the Boss Gaming. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And
I think
good
he's the
old
boss of gaming.
good old Sir Williams in here. Uncle Bill's in here tonight. Coco says Until Death was and is one of her faves of Tales from the Crypt. Um,
But the
Uncle Bill
title
says
too, by the way.
you're using a timer, KOK. Well, I got to do something, Uncle Bill. Uh,
The one thing about Till Death is the kind of cringy one-liner jokes that the woman makes, like when she's burnt and she goes into the
oh
quicksand, she
yeah,
comes out, I'm burning with desire. I'm like, okay.
that's a little bit much, yeah. Um, Super Batman Nerd says might sound strange, but I remember him in the next Karate Kid movie with Hilary Swank.
Who?
So who are we talking about there? I don't
Yeah.
know. I've lost lost track there.
I hated
Uh,
that movie.
Blitzel says I only tattled the Dana. LOL.
Okay.
And she says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Well, thank you, Blissful. Hey, Russell. Um, Blissful says, I almost used the wrong finger emoji. I've been chatting with my best friend too much.
Which one was that?
I didn't know they had an emoji for that one.
They do have a middle finger. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we're going to go on to the next episode, which
Love
is,
this one. Love this one.
I do too,
It's
which
great.
is for crying out loud. And I'll let TJ start with this
Mhm.
one.
This one resonates with me because I have tinnitus, so I'm like, okay, this guy has
Oh,
ear issues. So yeah, this guy's a music promoter, bands and stuff in clubs and whatever, and he's a thief too. He steals the money. He's a embezzler basically. Got some good cameos. Is Iggy Pop cameo in this? He's basically the musical actor in the whole episode. Um, and Katie Seagal from
mhm.
Married with Children, Sons of Anarchy, etc. Um, and Lee Arenberg plays the lead character. He's Marty Slash. That's more like a rock star. Uh,
Right.
and then I remember him from the show Once Upon a Time, which I was like, whoa, I forgot he was in this Tales from the Crypt episode. Um, so anyway, yeah, so he goes to the doctor. He's hearing some weird noises in his ears. It's sort of then the doctor's like, is it ringing? Is it like a whooshing sound? And I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that sounds like. And he's like, no, it's like a, and the guy's looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, we find out it's his conscience, voiced by Sam Kinison
Yeah.
from
But
Married
the
with
Sam Kinison doesn't exactly get as loud as I thought he would in here. I think one or two times he does, but I kept expecting to go all the time because that's what Sam Kinison usually does. But
I think he mellowed by this point.
by that time, yeah.
Yeah, so he's embezzling money. Um, Katie Seagal's character is this sexy like groupie who's coming on to him, and we find out it's his bank teller who
Hmm.
is going to blackmail him, and she wants half the money. Um, and it's funny, she's like, Katie Seagal was kind of always sexy, but she's
Yeah.
very sexy, and then she takes off her disguise, and she's like a bookworm with red hair and glasses. I'm like, she's still hot. I don't. And he's like,
She
I
looked
don't
better like
even
that.
recognize you. And I'm like, how do you not recognize her? She's almost exactly. And her name is Miss Kielbasa.
Yeah.
So that's a sexual reference if you didn't catch that one. So he kills her while his conscience, Sam Kinison, is like, don't kill her, don't do it, and he does it anyways. Um, yeah, and he gets caught. It's sort of like the Telltale Heart. That is
Yeah.
the theme of this episode is the Telltale Heart. So he hides her body in a drum case. He's found out. So this is sort of a bookend episode. It starts with him at uh, the prison about to be electrocuted. It's funny. It would have been funny if the guy from The Man Who Death was who was pulling that would have been hilarious, but they didn't.
Yeah, it would have been.
Um, by the way, this is a very comedic episode. It's obviously with the cast, you can tell it's pretty comedic. So it's a bookend where he gets electrocuted, for murder, and he's thrilled. They're like, why is he so thrilled?
Yeah, he's a giddy. He's getting electrocuted.
Yeah. So this whole story is about why he's so happy, and it ends with him in the jail cell, about to be executed. So that's it. It's a very funny episode. The cast is cool. Everything about it's great. I mean, I like this episode.
Yeah, I really liked it too. And having Sam Kinison voice his conscience, I thought was genius.
Makes
Because,
perfect sense.
yeah, perfect for this guy's conscience. And I couldn't imagine anybody else voicing the conscience and doing excellent job like that. Did we mention Iggy Pop?
I did.
Okay, I
That's a
thought you
previous.
did, but I guess Iggy Pop was there to add that little touch of rock and roll
Yeah.
to the episode, which is supposed to be about rock and roll. Um, but I liked uh, I liked all the characters. I don't think there was one unlikable main character in this. They all had things that I found to like about them, and
Yeah,
even
even the main guy, he's a scumbag, but he's funny.
but he's funny. And Case, is it Sagal or Segal, or how do you pronounce her last name properly? Is it Segal?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, from a woman's perspective, I've always thought she was sexy, and I know she was in disguise, but she looks so much better, I think, without that wig on
Yeah,
and
it was a
just her
terrible wig.
regular.
It was a terrible.
Yeah, it was a terrible wig,
The outfit was
and
fine. The wig was terrible.
even with the glasses on, when she had the glasses on for a short time, and she was trying to look like a bookworm, bank
Yeah.
teller type of person. Um, you just it was almost like the um, sexy librarian type of thing.
Yeah,
They
exactly. Yeah.
that that was the uh, Steve used to kid me when I was working for library systems about being a sexy librarian, but I won't go there any further than that.
Yeah,
But
take off your
anyway,
glasses and pull out your ponytail and shake your hair.
I would do that
And
to
then
get
Steve came. Oh, ooh, who's this?
she's changed into a new woman. Um, so Uncle Bill says, talking about Kennison, he had one of my favorite deliveries, Terrace. What are they going to do? Scare me? I was married for 2 years. And then he does his signature
Yeah.
thing. I can't do it like Sam Kennison. Uh, let's see.
Yeah, he got sober and then he got into like a car accident and he was killed. A drunk driver, I think it was a drunk driver, killed him. The drunk driver lived. He
Mhm.
killed Sam. It's like crazy.
Blissful said the peace sign, geez. I guess that was the finger
Uh,
emoji she was talking about. Sorry, Blissful. Um, but Super Batman Nerd was talking about Michael Ironside that was in the
okay,
next Karate Kid
that makes
movie.
see. I didn't see it. Well, I saw it, but I didn't. I don't remember anything about it. I'm glad I blocked it out. Like,
And that's interesting, Russell. Russell met Michael Ironside years ago at an AA meeting in Toronto. Said he was a cool
ah,
person. So
I saw a recent photo. He looks rough. I mean, everybody gets old, but like moisturize.
Uncle Bill says that Kennison was amazing at the beginning of his career.
He used to be on the Howard Stern show a lot with his wife and everything. I remember listening to that show a lot.
Speaking of Howard Stern, Steve used to listen to Howard Stern obsessively, and in the last few years, of course, Howard Stern's not doing much now, but Steve's like, he's stupid. He don't want to listen to him anymore. Instead, he listens to Radio Gunk, which is something on YouTube where they make fun of Howard Stern and everybody that has been associated with Howard
He's a
Stern.
millionaire. He could care less about what anybody thinks about.
Yeah, that's what I told Steve. I was like, it, if he wanted to, I mean, I don't think he will because I don't think he cares. He's going to do his own thing. But this
Yeah.
this woman that heads up Radio Gunk, her husband is a lawyer, and if Howard Stern wanted to, couldn't he like sue her for libelous statements?
If they're doing it as a parody, they can probably say, "Oh no, we're doing it's satirical. We're not."
I don't know if they could prove that it's satirical because
I
they're
mean,
pretty vicious.
if they're saying things like, I mean, look what most politicians nowadays are getting away with, and
Hmm.
they say anything they want, and they say the stupidest Caitlyn Jenner said, if Trump isn't president again, it's going to ruin the country. I'm like, we don't care
Yeah,
about you. Get out of here.
yeah, exactly. Um,
No one
but
like the straights don't like you, Caitlyn. The gays don't like you, Caitlyn. Nobody likes you, Caitlyn. Go, go.
I think what really irritates me the most about radio gunk and stuff like it is
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to sit there and watch people badmouth other people. Even if I'm not a big fan of Howard Stern, I just don't like all that bad mouthing back and forth that people do on the internet these days. It's just, it's not needed. But
Well,
anyway,
him in his $1 million house with his supermodel wife, he's really upset that you're saying bad things about him. He's gonna.
right. I guess I'm just tired of hearing it and singing it, and that's all Steve wants to watch. People drama, drama, drama on the internet, on YouTube, and people going back and forth at each other all the time.
Yeah, I don't listen to shock jocks anymore. When I had Sirius satellite for a while, and I was like, all right, I just to listen to Howard Stern, I was like, all right, I can't keep paying for this.
Right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the next episode, which is Four-Sided Triangle, which I'll say I really, really like this episode. Um, but I'm going to start our timer again and let TJ start talking about this one.
Well, it's another shock suspense story, um, directed by Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
So also co-wrote it. Patricia Arquette is in it. The other two, I know I've seen them in a bunch of other things,
I
but
think older woman is
Susan,
the one that played Missy Dandridge in Pet Cemetery. I'm
yes,
pretty sure that's her.
I can't pronounce her name.
Walmart.
Blomart. Yeah. Um, yeah. Anyway, so so Patricia Arquette's Mary Jo. She's working for this couple, but they're not. She's not working of her own free will. She's basically their servant,
Yeah.
slave, you could say. It seems that she had robbed a liquor store or a convenience store or something, and the husband George caught her, and basically is gonna, he was gonna call the police. I really don't know how. We don't see it. We only hear about it. I'm like, how did they just say, "Hey, we're gonna kidnap you and make you work for us"? Because it's a little convoluted. But anyway, so George is very into Mary Jo. His wife's, I think she has polio or something, so she had one of her legs doesn't work.
Mhm.
She has a brace on it. But yeah, so he keeps coming on to her, he's trying to molest her basically. There's a scene in the barn where she gets knocked out because he's being a little too rough with her. She wanders into the cornfield, comes across this scarecrow that seems to come to life and beckon her.
Mhm.
So they find her. She's sort of passed out. She's talking about how this is her man, and he's gonna take her away from this and make love to her. And George is getting very jealous, even though it's sort of in her mind. And he says to his wife, she's nuts. So no one will ever believe anything she says. So we can keep her here forever. The wife's a little bit more like not nice, but she's not trying to. She's kind of mean to Mary Jo, but she's not like overly trying to. She's not like the wicked stepmother type of like evil.
No, and she doesn't want her husband to be lecherous for
Yes,
multiple reasons.
even though he's denying it, she's sort of siding with Mary Jo a little bit. So she keeps coming. So anyway, Mary Jo keeps kind of seeing this scarecrow, and then it comes to near the end where she's out by the scarecrow and she's like kind of grabbing onto it, like humping the scarecrow,
Yeah.
and the wife comes by and she pulls her off and she's like, I was about to have sex with my man and you ruined everything. And she's like, this scarecrow, it's a scarecrow, it's not real. And she plunges the pitchfork into the scarecrow. Guess what? The scarecrow is her husband in disguise because he realized he's thinking since Mary Jo was in love with the Scarecrow, he would dress as the Scarecrow to seduce her. But the wife didn't know this, kills him. Mary Jo kills her. It's some nice stabbing with the pitchfork. The pitchfork comes through her chest and everything. It's
Uh,
really cool. I think that's like one of the best parts of the episode. Um, and she finally gets to escape and go on with the life. There's an earlier scene where she's the George is talking to her and she's looking at him and she's noticing he has the keys on, like, he has a chain with the key to the truck. So it's sort of like, it's very like comic booky, where it would be panels of her looking at the key and then looking at
yeah.
the truck and then looking at the ignition in the truck and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's another crime suspense story. You could say it's supernatural with the clown, with the scarecrow, but well, do you want to hear my take on what I think, or do you want to talk about it first?
Um,
You can
well,
say
I'd love to hear your take on it because I've kind of got a theory too.
my theory is she was faking the whole scarecrow being alive thing because she knew it would entice George.
Exactly. That's exactly what I
She
thought
never
too.
saw it. We saw it as far as us as an audience because it was sort of fooling us
Hmm.
to believe that, but I think she knew exactly what she was doing through the whole thing, and she really didn't think the scarecrow was alive. So that was my
And she saw her way to escape them by playing this out until the end. But yeah, I was going to ask TJ that if he thought that, if he didn't bring it up.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought exactly the same thing. Um, but another, I mean, I can't really say I have watched any episodes thus far that I haven't liked. Um, so there hasn't like, and TJ, if you disagree, if you've discovered a weak one
Not
or a
yet.
really weak one, you
Yeah.
can bring it up. But I haven't just yet. So we're getting ready to. Do you want to say anything more about this one? I don't want to cut you off. If
I do
there's,
like one thing. So when they're searching for Mary Jo, and obviously the wife can't walk. She tells her husband, "Get down," jumps on his back, and then he piggybacks her out. And I thought that was,
right.
it's not a funny episode, but it's that scene. It was so hilarious. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool. This is so good. I like this."
Okay, so we're coming up on one of my favorite episodes, which is the ventriloquist dummy with Don Rickles and Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah, another comedian. They got a bunch of comedians for this season here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So um, I'll let you go ahead and start, TJ.
All right, so Don Rickles is Mr. Ingalls, ventriloquist. He's doing his show, which it looks like a lot of it was just Don Rickles being Don Rickles. I'm gonna
Right.
guess a lot of the stuff, like when he's insulting the audience, sounds like he probably wrote most of this stuff. I would say. I mean, I don't think he's in the is he in the credits as a writer? No, but
But Frank Darabont did the
yes.
screenplay for this, which is cool and a little different, unique that Frank Darabont did the screenplay for this one.
And directed by Richard Donner,
Hmm.
which doesn't seem like an episode he would direct, but I think he did a good job. Anyway, yeah, so Don Rickles is a successful ventriloquist. So Bobcat, at the beginning of the episode, he meets Bobcat Goldthwait's character Billy as a little kid, and
Hmm.
Billy's like, "What do you want to?" He's like, Don Rickles is like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And Billy's like, "I want to be a ventriloquist like you." And his mother's like, "No, he wants to be a I don't know lawyer,
I
secret
think a doctor or
something
something.
like
She
that."
wanted to be.
Anyway, he grows up being obsessed with becoming a ventriloquist. He's not that good. Um, this reminds me of that episode of Friday 13th, the series with the ventriloquist kind of thing.
Hmm.
Where's the yeah that was yeah with the was it forget the guy who played the guy who wanted to be the successful one, and why
Yeah,
am
I
I thinking
forgot.
his name was Buddy Hackett? No, maybe that wasn't. I don't know. He was another old
But I think this is a better episode than that one.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, like
That it's similar, yeah.
yeah. Well, the last episode we're going to talk about reminded me of so many things that I wonder
Mhm.
if they were influenced by that. But anyway, when we get to that, so yeah, so he's obsessed with Don Rickles' character, being a comedian, a ventriloquist, and he's he wants to be like him and all that stuff. But he's not that good. Um, yeah, and I was, I was just looking at the credits. Don Rickles. It says Mindy Rickles, so I'm gonna guess it's his granddaughter was in this, and also Richard Donner is a man at the bar at a certain scene.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so we find out the twist of it is the ventriloquist dummy is not a dummy. It is his what do you call it? When it's a twin, that's the form twin, like Belial. He's like a Belial, basically.
Yeah. Would it be a Siamese twin or would it
I
be?
guess that's what it is. Um, sorry, blah 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 blah.
But it did remind me of Bilal, only Bilal didn't talk, but some of the things
Yeah.
about it reminded me of Bilal.
I'm sorry, one second. Anyway, yeah, so it's a little deformed guy, so the puppet comes off. They both attack uh, Bobcat. Um, Don Rickles dies very bloody and very gross.
Yeah.
Which I wonder, he was an older guy. I wonder how much he liked the being all bloody and having to sort of be physical and everything like that. Anyway, um, so what does Bobcat do? He decides to use the little guy because I guess he can still live even though he's no longer connected to his brother.
Hmm.
Um, and he decides to use him in his act so he can become famous. So at the end, we have the act with Bobcat and his puppet. He's using the same puppet, and the puppet starts going off script, and he's like, "Hey, you gotta," he's like, "You gotta do what I tell you to do," kind of thing. He's like, "I'm not gonna do what I say, you say," and then Bobcat Goldthwait starts like screaming in pain, and it's revealed that it's not just sitting on his hand; it's like he morphing with his hand. So you see his fingers sticking out of
Yeah.
the creature and everything like that. Um, and it ends very like gross and bloody, and I you know, I like that kind of ending. So
Yeah, I think this was, I didn't feel like Bobcat Goldthwait was one of those characters that should have got his comeuppance really because he was he was a bad ventriloquist. I mean, that was probably his worst crime was he just
yeah,
wasn't good at it. Um, but it wasn't like he hurt anybody or anything in the process of the episode. Um, but and I don't know how you feel about Don Rickles' character in the episode. Did you feel like he was evil at all, or had a bad streak in him at all, or do you think it was all the
yeah,
stuff
he
that
was influenced by the his brother basically.
went? Hmm. So basically, he was an innocent too. It was
Yeah,
Morty, or whatever. Didn't wasn't his brother's real name Morty?
I think so.
Okay, because they called the ventriloquist dummy over top of him Morty as well.
Yeah,
But the reveal, I love the reveal when he's like, "It's my brother Morty," and he's just like, this. You got you got the little, the twin there, the
yeah, kind of looks like
crazy looking twin.
Freddy from part five when it's a baby Freddy. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah, it does. But a fun episode. I liked it, and a little bit creepy too with the whole
That puppet's very
grandmother.
creepy.
Yeah.
Not the puppet, but the brother is very.
Mhm. And ventriloquist dummies are creepy anyway. I mean, like, if somebody says that those things ain't creepy, I'm like, you ain't seen one or something if you don't think they're creepy, because I think they're really creepy. There's this young guy, well, he's not a young guy, but this guy that Steve watches on YouTube called King Cobra. He goes by the name King Cobra. He's
Uh-huh.
got a ventriloquist dummy doll that sits on the couch in his apartment, and he calls it Sean. And that thing is creepy.
Well, that name alone, not
Yeah.
sure.
But is there anything else you want to say about that episode, TJ?
No, I mean like the even though it's a little rubbery looking, it's a cool looking creature, and especially when Don Rickles is chopping. That's what happens. John Rickles chops,
Yeah, he's.
chops his own hand off because he's sick of being controlled by his brother. Um,
Hmm.
he was like, there's a part where he's like, I don't know the exact thing. It's basically like, sorry, but I have to kill you to Bobcat's character. It's like,
Yeah.
but then when the I love when it's even like I said, even though it's cheesy, I like when the puppet's sort of like behind the desk, so you just see the top, and it's like
Right. It's sort of like like a Evil Dead 2 type thing, like when the possessed hand was like after he's lopped it off, it's running around flipping him off and
yeah.
doing all kinds of stuff. Um,
And then it takes a big chunk out of Don Rickles' neck too. It's like
oh yeah, that
if you
too.
like
Yeah.
gore, this is the episode that you want to watch. Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely, in my opinion, the goriest of these that we're talking about tonight.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna look through these chat messages real quick before we go on to the next one here. Blissful says Howard Stern's still active interviewing musicians. Coco says I used to watch the Howard Stern show between '99 to 2002. I never liked him and his goons, but I'd still watch it for certain guests. Um,
I liked Robin.
I liked Robin too, and see that's the thing about Radio Gun. They even make fun of Robin, and it's almost seems like they make fun of her for having cancer, and I'm like,
Well,
that's
that's
mean.
bullshit.
That's mean. That's just downright mean.
We're far enough into the stream. That's fucked, and they should drop dead.
And that really makes me upset. And Steve's like, Dana, don't get so upset over that. It's just, people are just on here. I
She
said,
almost
yeah, but
died of cancer. So I mean, if it wasn't for Howard too, like he helped her and everything. Like it was such a. She had come to Boston years ago, and
mhm.
she had her book out, and I had it went to the book signing, had her sign the book.
Oh, that's cool. What was she like to meet, TJ?
It was a brief. Like they were rushing people. It was just like go up, sign your book,
Oh,
you're gonna go.
gotcha.
I I did say I had something to say, but I forgot. And she's like, "Oh, you'll remember it later." Then after I left, I'm like, "Well, that doesn't help me."
I guess she was just trying to be nice when
But
she.
she was nice. I mean, and that was before she was sick and everything. So anyway,
Right. Coco says so far 3 comedians I can't stand. I liked Bobcat and Burglar about it. So I'm guessing she doesn't like Sam Kinison, doesn't
burglar.
like
Wait,
Don
burglar.
Rickles or Bobcat Goldways. That's the
Burglar
only.
is not a good movie. That's the whole Whoopi Goldberg. I think it's not a good movie. Two
Uh,
comedians couldn't say that one.
Russell says can't stand Bob Saget. I always liked Bob Saget. Now I know that Bob Saget in the early days, like when he was just doing stand up comedy, before he was on Full House
Yeah.
and stuff like that, he would be vulgar on stage. And maybe that's why some people don't care for him. But I loved him
Being
on
on
Full
Full
House.
House because that was not him at all. That was not his character.
Hmm. But I loved Full House. I remember watching that every
Yeah,
week.
Candace Cameron's a little nutty.
Well, she is now. Yeah, her and
And
her
her
brother
brother
both
is
are.
off the.
Man,
His brother's insane. The brother's insane.
I agree with that. Russell says Magic with Anthony Hopkins is a great Evil Dummy doll film. Yeah, me and Steve watched Magic again recently. Or I don't know if Steve had ever actually seen it.
Oh,
And
really? First time?
he was like, ah, it's okay. And he didn't understand the end. And I'm like,
My mother was freaked out about that. She watched it, but she was like, she was always scared of that movie. Like whenever he mentioned it, she was like, "Oh, no, the dummy."
okay, well, Coco, we're going to have to agree to disagree on Robin. She says Robin was terrible, like a bully sidekick with that stupid laugh. I don't feel that way, but everybody has a right to their own opinion. Um,
No matter how wrong. No, I'm kidding.
all right, so anyway, we'll go to the next episode, which is got Brian Kerwin and Carol Kane, which is I love this episode. I love Carol Kane, and it took me almost the whole episode to figure out that Brian Kerwin is who played Gary on Roseanne, one of Jackie's early boyfriends
Oh,
when
that's
she was
right.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Where have I seen him? Where have I seen him?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, he played Gary on Roseanne." Um, so anyway, we'll go ahead and get started with TJ talking about Judy. You're not yourself today.
Judy, you're not yourself today. Um, directed by I think is Rhonda Haynes a woman? I don't even know. Is it directed by a woman?
That's what I was. I knew a girl named Randa or Rhonda or how you pronounce it.
Yeah. There's a picture of a woman on her IMDb, so I'm assuming she is.
Oh, okay.
She directed Children of a Lesser God. That's what I mean. Um, which I don't know how you go from Children of a Lesser God to an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
even directors have to eat anyway. So yes, we have Judy played by Carol Kane. She's amazing in this. She puts on this sort of like not British accent, but it's like I'm a very rich and
Yeah, a
hoity type.
proper rich ladies
Yeah,
accent.
hoity-toity is the word. Look that up in the dictionary, kids. It's an old word. Might be two words. I don't know. Anyway, yes, and Donald, her husband, sort of like likes guns and likes smoking, and she's like, "No, you can't smoke in the house; it ruins my hair."
Yeah.
This is a comedic episode. This was a Tales from the Crypt original, so there's going to be something um, supernatural that's going to happen. Anyway, so she's basically home a lot. She doesn't mind answering the door to any stranger that comes to the door. There's this sort of guy selling something. The husband's got his gun, and he's like, "Hey," trying to scare him into leaving. And Carol Kane's character is like, "Hey, don't treat people that way." And he puts the gun to her head and shoots it, and it's like, "There's no bullets in it."
And she gets really upset, as I
Everybody was
would.
upset. The guy at the door was upset. She was upset. And then she's like, I don't want you smoking in here. And he goes, what am I supposed to do? You say, don't smoke cigarettes. Don't point a gun in my head. I mean,
Can't do anything.
yeah. Um, so he goes off to the gun club with his buddies. She's a little frustrated, but whatever. This woman comes to the door. She's selling um, some Avon knockoff because they couldn't afford to say Avon, I guess. I don't know. Selling makeup. She brings her in. Um, she's got these like necklaces and baubles on and everything like that. She takes off this pendant. Judy, played by Carol Kane, really is enamored by it. We find out this woman is a witch, played by Frances Bay. She's been in tons of things. If you see her, you're like, oh, I know her from blah blah whatever. Anyway, so she's a witch. She switches bodies with Judy. Now Judy's an old hag, and she's young and attractive and all this stuff. She decides that she's gonna, she leaves. The husband comes back. He's like, doesn't know who this is. He's like, and she's like, oh, I'm your wife. And he seems to believe her, but he does he believe her or?
Well, he has to like ask her like it's like playing 20 questions. He asks her all these questions and she gets them all right.
But then he locks her in the closet. I think maybe he went to find the witch who now maybe that was it. Maybe he
Mm.
just put her in there to I don't know keep her safe, or maybe he does. He's not sure yet.
I guess it could be both one of two ways.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so Judy, not Judy, well, not Judy, not Judy is at the she's at the train station. She's about to leave and whatever, and he finds her there, and he's like, oh, what am I supposed to? How do I get her to get back to the house to switch bodies back? And he sees a guy reading a newspaper that says cancerous tumor, actually healthy set of twins. So he gets the idea. He's going to tell not Judy that uh, uh, we got to get to your cancer treatment. To convince the witch to switch bodies back because why would she want a body that was going to die or whatever?
Right.
Um, um, yeah, so she brings her back to the house. Um, uh, oh no, she does like a spell, but she switches bodies back. But we find out that the husband takes her back to the house. We find out that she was faking switching bodies because she kind of knew what was up. I think she figured it out eventually. Um, so they think everything's back to normal. They think the witch is dead now. He throws her in a grave in the basement. They dig a grave. They bury her in the basement. Um, but then we find out that no, they were not switched back. And of course, now the witch is like a deformed zombie hag, and I'm like, she wasn't buried that long. I don't know why I would.
Right. I guess they had to make it look gruesome like that for a Tales from the Crypt episode.
That's like in a Return of the Living Dead. I'm like, why is Linnea Quigley's face all
Yeah.
deformed when she was only buried for like 20 minutes? It seemed in the movie.
Yeah, or maybe not even that long. It's
Why would you ruin Linnea's face like that?
That's a good question.
Anyway, there's a struggle with. So he has a gun. There's a struggle with the gun. Judy gets shot, and of course, that's finally when the bodies switch back. And then the witch sort of disappears. So I don't know if she dies and vanishes, or she goes off and starts again, sort of like if the Wes Craven movie Stranger in a House, aka
Oh yeah.
where the you think the witch is dead and then she comes back at the end. That's sort of a I just thought of that movie, like it sort of
Huh.
reminded me of this a little bit. Anyway, and the witch is gone, and Judy's now dying of a gunshot wound. Sort of an irony that he's such a big gun guy, and he ends up in the pretending, not pretending, but the holding the gun to his her head at the beginning of the episode. It's just sort of, I guess you could sort of say this is sort of another bookend thing with the gun actually killing her. And I
Yeah.
think it's a sad ending too because
Yeah, I thought so too.
it's comedic a little bit, but like he says some funny stuff, but he's basically real. His wife's dying there, and he's sort of not crying at the end, but he's very sad. So it's a very sad. I think with all the comedy of the episode, the ending to be so sad, I was like, wow, that's pretty good directing. I would say, and
Right.
acting too. Um, though she sort of dies with like a joke, but it's still his emotion about it is no, it makes it sad. Anyway,
Mm.
yeah,
But
I,
I just want to talk about Brian Kerwin and his like I think his overacting, which he was probably told to do this for like
yeah,
comic effect, but his overacting really works in this episode where he's jumping around, he's saying, I fucking blew her away, and he's doing all this stuff, and I was just laughing because I remembered a little bit about it, but when it was actually, replaying right in front of me, I was like, this is really good. But I do agree with TJ that it was, when it came down to it, the final shots, that it was sad,
yeah,
which doesn't happen a lot. with Tales from the Crypt episodes. This one was sort of unique that way. Um, but I liked it, and that's going to bring us to the final episode of the night, unless TJ wants to add anything to this episode.
No.
Okay.
Um,
So let's see. Let me reset that. So I'll just say, like, I'll start this, but I, I'll just say this fitting punishment episode, like Moses Gunn in this, who was in Firestarter and a bunch of other stuff that I can't think of right now. Um, but he was on the bad
aviation
guys.
possession.
He was on the bad guy's side in Firestarter, but he didn't seem that evil. You know what I mean? Or maybe I'm just not seeing the evil in him. But in this episode, he is an evil guy. And you don't uh they don't pull any punches in this episode. You find out pretty quickly what kind of guy his character is. And this one was directed by Jack Shoulder as well. So Jack Shoulder did Alone in the Dark. He did Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And there's a ton of other stuff, I'm sure, but I'm just forgetting. What am I forgetting, TJ, that Jack Shoulder did?
Well, you're forgetting episode 12 was television terror.
Is it?
That's what I got on.
Oh, that's not. Television Terror is not until episode 16
Oh, see,
on my set.
see when I was watching the broadcast dates, and it was on Judy was on
Oh,
the 12th, and television terror was on the 17th.
crap. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't see that episode.
Well, I guess I can talk about that one, and then we'll save the television terror for next time.
Sure, well, you got the rest of it.
Sorry about that, TJ.
That's okay. See, you didn't watch that one. I didn't watch this.
Right. Okay. So fitting punishment. I bet TJ was thinking, "What in the heck?"
I know. I didn't want to interrupt you until you were done, but I was like, yeah, whoops.
So fitting punishment stars Moses Gunn as a funeral home director, and he's not a very good guy. He steals the gold teeth from the dead family members. People are families are entrusting him with the care of their loved ones after they're deceased. And after the doors are closed and everybody's headed out to the cemetery for the burial, he'll take some pliers and pull out their gold teeth, and probably takes their jewelry and all kinds of other stuff. And he's all about saving money, but he's cheap basically. So he doesn't really embalm the dead. He just basically puts the tubes in them, like he's going to do that, and runs water from the sink in there.
Hmm.
And it's the whole thing's not sanitary or anything. He lets the blood run out of the body all over the floor in the rooms where he's preparing the bodies and stuff like that. So after a funeral, this young man shows up with his suitcase and his basketball, basically. And he is. It turns out it's his uncle. Moses Gunn's character is
Oh, I
his
remember
uncle.
this. Oh, what happens in the later? Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Do you remember enough about to talk about it, TJ?
No, I just sort of remember the last third, the little bit of the what happens with the. Well, you get when you get to it. That's.
Okay. I will say that this is a very hard episode to watch. I mean, this one was the hardest of all of them for me to watch. Um, so, like, Moses Gunn is like, "Who the hell are you anyway? And why are you here?" And he said, "Don't you remember me? I'm your nephew. Um, you know, I forgot what the guy's sister's name was, but he said, I'm her son, and he said, "Oh, you mean my no count sister or my stupid sister or something like that." So he doesn't like anybody. And so basically, he uses his nephew as a slave to do all the dirty work. You know, you go do this, you go do that. And
I
he,
wouldn't use that term.
what?
I'm not going to repeat it's not a bad word. I'm making a joke. Well,
Oh,
because
well, I don't know what I said. I was,
anyway,
oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Guys and gals,
I, no, you didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying. I,
I really didn't mean to. So if that offended anybody, I apologize. Um, if you saw that episode, I sometimes say things, guys and gals, that I don't realize how it sounds. But he makes him do everything that he doesn't want to do.
yeah,
Okay, that's a better way to say
yeah,
it. Okay. Um, so so anyway, he also beats his nephew when he doesn't do the right thing. He'll, smack him upside the head or something. So it comes down to there's a young man who dies in the community, and his father wanted an oak casket for him. Well, the nephew made sure that he marked, I guess, on, I hate to say it this way, but the toe tag for the young man, that he was to have an oak casket.
yeah.
Well, probably the uncle just ordered a cheaper version, a pine casket, to try to save money. But then when the boy's father comes and he say, "I'm taking good care of your son here," he says, "Well, I requested an oak casket. This is pine." So he just goes ballistic on the nephew and he says, "You ordered the wrong thing." And he takes a crowbar and he beats him with it, and he makes him paralyzed. Well, I mean, the doctor says he'll never walk again because you've given him or he has a spinal injury. And the doctor, the uncle says, well, he fell down the stairs. He's just clumsy and he fell down the stairs, and that's how he got the spinal injury. And you can tell the doctor doesn't really believe him, but he has no proof otherwise. So the poor nephew is still having to do things to help out, and his uncle is still blaming him. He's like, "We're going into debt for your medication and for this and that for you." And you can just tell he just hates his nephew. And it's like, what did he ever do to you? He came here because he didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
And you make him where he can't walk. He basically got crutches and dragging himself around and all this, and it's just terrible. And so then he's just had enough of like being broke all the time. He doesn't want to be broke all the time. The uncle doesn't, and so he scares the nephew and causes him to fall down the steps, and he dies this time. And he's like, "Oh, good, I'm rid of him. Now I can go back to doing things the way I want to do."
Mm-hmm.
And the nephew isn't ready to lay down and be dead, basically. So um, he wants to put him in the pine casket that he ended up
This
getting
is
for
where I
the other
remember the
one.
episode from.
Hmm. And so to make him fit, he cuts off his feet and then just kind of crams him into the casket. So we see a scene where, the uncle hears some thumping, and here come the feet down the steps, just the feet. And then the nephew comes down there with no feet, and basically takes the uncle out. And this is one of the classic, if you're a bad person, you're going to get your comeuppance at the end of the episode. So this one was a classic one. Um, and TJ, is there anything that you want to add to that?
No, it's a very like this would probably fit in creep show kind of.
But this episode depressed me though. It depressed me more than any of the other episodes. It was hard to watch, really hard to watch. And I didn't remember this one from like original viewings. And so I was like, wow.
I remember him cutting his feet off to make him fit, and I remember the zombie with the feet coming down the stairs. I mean, that's very Tales from the Crypt. I mean, the feet come down and then the body comes down on the crutches, and he's all zombie looking and everything like that.
Mm.
But the one who played the nephew, he was Children of the Corn 3. He's the guy who gets his neck pulled out of his body, like you see the spine.
Well, it's been so long since I seen Charlotte
Yeah,
Corn 3.
that's a gory shot.
The kid did look familiar though, or the boy looked familiar. Maybe he's been on other stuff too, and I just couldn't
What's
remember.
funny, the guy who directed this episode. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I get the wrong? Because I'm on the wrong episode. Never mind.
Oh, because this one was, didn't I say Jack Shoulder? Yeah,
Yeah,
Jack
yeah. I
Shoulder
was
did
thinking
this one.
because I was thinking of the one I actually watched.
Oh, you're thinking of the television terror one. Well, guys and gals, that might happen from time to time because I'm strictly going by uh, the way they are on these sets. And if I apologize if some of you are watching them like maybe on YouTube or something like that. I know Blissful was. I think Blissful had some playlists, so she may have watched the same one you did, TJ. It's
Yeah.
possible. But again, I'd like to apologize for using a term I should not have used. I wasn't even thinking.
No,
So
you didn't. No, it was no. You didn't mean it that way. It's just.
after I thought about it, I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, TJ. I mean, somebody's got to catch me when I slip up, and that probably won't be the last time I slip up somehow. But people get really upset over little things like that. So I'm glad TJ said something so I could backtrack a little bit. So we have Blissful says I went by the aired episode dates for my playlist. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, from now on, I'm gonna. Well, I don't have all the sets, but I'm gonna go by the set list so this doesn't happen again.
And
Talk about that episode, but anyway.
yeah, I mean, TJ was like, "Holy!"
What did you say? What it was? What number was it on the list?
What number was the one that you watched?
Yeah, on your list.
It's episode 16.
Okay.
But yeah, I see what you're talking about. Like, I don't know why they don't on these sets. Why they don't put that in the right order of the air date.
Who put it out? Shout Factory.
Warner Brothers put these out.
Well, they're idiots.
And I apologize for that, Blissful, because I meant to get back with Blissful and we were going to compare notes and compare her playlist from what I've got on the disc. So let me just go ahead and for anybody that's going by playlist that might be on YouTube, I'm just going to read off the episodes in the order that that they are in my set. So we're going to start with Corman's Calamity, then Lower Birth, Mute Witness to Murder, Television Terror, My Brother's Keeper, and The Secret will be the last episode of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chris. We're almost through here, Chris. I hate that. I hate it when we're almost done and somebody
Go
comes
to
in,
depth
they're
in
all like,
17 minutes and say hello.
but yeah, is there anything that anybody wants to ask me and TJ before we get off here for the night? We did really good on this. I think timing the episodes is the way to go
Yeah.
because I didn't have to uh, bang the gong or anything like that to get. We just said,
I can be succinct when I want to.
oh, I can too. I can be short and sweet and to the point
Yeah.
when I got to.
I
Um,
can't wait till we get the lower berth because that's a
that's
special episode. Do you know why
mm,
it's a special episode?
yeah. Do you want me to mention it or we want to wait?
No, if you haven't seen it, they'll have to wait till next week.
Blissful really wanted to hear the gong. Sorry, Blissful. Um, Chris, you say all good, Dana. Just finished watching Possession. My goodness, LOL. Oh man, Chris. Possession is a ride and a half, is what that movie is. Man. Um,
I need to
but
see that. That's on my list of.
I'll probably give it another minute, and we'll just quit at 9:45. That sounds like a nice, good time to stop, and that way everybody will have 15 minutes to get ready for the Dead Pit stream at 10.
Villains Part 2.
Yep, yep. And now it is 9:45.
Oh,
So
that was a fast minute, wasn't it?
that was the first minute. But I want to thank TJ once again for being my Mr. Ghoul host.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm going to keep that until we're done with it.
you're going to keep that until we're finished.
It's
Okay.
right. It's ghoulish. Hello.
And I want to thank everybody that was in the chat tonight. We had quite a few people in here. We had 10 or more people at all times during the stream.
Uncle Bill dropped it, even though he should be preparing for his own stream.
Yeah. CK's going to get him for not preparing properly. So, Blissful says, great live, TJ and Dana. Thank you, Blissful. I appreciate that. So, without further ado, we're going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. And you guys have a great night. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.
Over and out.